Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Colorwood for YouTube. Here to do a Halloween video for you guys. Halloween H2O. You know, when I think about Halloween H2O, I think about one specific thing: memories. For that's what Laurie Strode is experiencing: memories that haunt her to her very soul. And these memories are going to affect one specific person around her. Well, not just one, but her ex-husband, who's John Tate's father. Uh, who is John Tate's father, brother? Um, Jimmy, the ambulance driver, maybe, who knows? It's not Ben Sherman. But also her current boyfriend and psychologist, though he doesn't know who she really is, she confesses to him that she's tried everything. She's tried 12 steps, she's tried self help. Nothing has worked. And when she says nothing, I don't believe Laurie Strode's just meaning the therapy. I believe she's meaning the alcohol she's been consuming as well, for the hallucinations have not faded for one Laurie Strode, and neither should they. This is a woman that 20 years ago found out she was the sister of one Michael Audrey Myers, and also found out on that very night that he was never going to stop coming for her and never going to stop killing anybody, whether they were related to him or not. It's really interesting how Laurie Strode is is a character who gets her fakes her death, gets put in this witness protection. Now, when I watch H2O, I think there's a combination of Loomis and Merrington Winnington that both helped her, knew where she went to. I think they both arranged her the faking of her death, and the files were sealed in Loomis's office. Merrington Winnington returns to be killed by one Michael Myers. She's not the only one. Two teenagers are going to get killed who happen to be her next door neighbor. And when Michael does show up in California, things don't go so well for John Tate and his friends. There's a lot of really interesting scenes right before we realize that Michael's in town. So Josh Hartnett's character John Tate goes and sneaks into town to get some alcohol. And this is one of the best interactions I've seen in the movie that I really enjoy most. It's the argument between mother and son. You have a young man, and ever since the beginning of this film, you've been hearing that he knows all too well about Michael Myers. He has heard the same song and dance for the past 20 years. As he says, today's the day, Halloween, you know. And she plays it off like she didn't notice, and he's like, come on. So when he goes off campus, and he's not allowed off campus, he does get him and his friend do get caught by his mother, who flips out on him. This is a really key moment to put a character over, and the writers do, and I really love the fact that they give Josh Hartnett the opportunity to. They take a big risk, but I also think they realized the kid had enough talent to hold his own against Jamie Lee Curtis. And Jamie Lee Curtis, again, great actress, but Josh Hartnett's a great actor too, and he proves his chops. He tells her, "Come on, 20 years. What's he been waiting for? He's had enough. You know, if you want to stay handcuffed to your dead brother, you ain't taking me down with you." I really, I feel sorry for Josh Hartnett's character, but I also still feel sorry for Laurie Strode. You get why she can't let it go. You know, is Josh Hartnett's character John Tate wrong for being a doubting Thomas? He's a doubting Thomas, not the way we might think. He's not a doubting Thomas in saying that it didn't happen. that the events 20 years ago didn't happen. He's a doubting Thomas that Michael will show up again 20 years later. That kind of doubting Thomas is really interesting because, number one, here's a character who's never experienced Michael Myers, but has been told about him. And we've seen this type of character before with Sheriff Brackett. The difference is Sheriff Brackett isn't related to Michael Myers, and he was the sheriff of Haddonfield. He knew Brackett knew the history of the Halloween murders. He didn't need it repeated back to him. John Tate has to be told about the murders and what happened with Michael Myers by his mother, who's all too gladly to tell him because it still haunts her. The murders 20 years ago, and I do think Laurie does think about Judith, which is really interesting. John Tate's character to stand up and say, I've had enough, is the right move. Because if he doesn't, it makes you wonder what the character's there for. One of the best moments in H show, I love the acting of Josh Hartnett here. As he before he goes into the window, he looks because he hears a sound, and the look on his face almost as if he saw something. Now, I have not picked up the new 4K H2O and all that. I sort of wondered, if anyone has it, please let me know if this is on there. Do they show what he sees? That would be really interesting if that were a deleted scene or just, something that, because we don't get to see what he sees. But the facial expression of him sort of says, what the fuck was that? And it makes you wonder, did he see Michael? What he saw something that gave him very much pause, and then he goes in. A great moment between them is when he realizes he's wrong. He's at the door with his girlfriend. They're banging. Michael's like taking the knife and swinging it. And after Laurie lets him in and she says, that's my brother, later on, as they're escaping, she drives away with John, with his girlfriend. And there's a really good moment of when she tells Michelle Williams' character, when Carrie Tate, Laurie Strode, go down the street and call it, get to, I think she says the Beckers or something, and have them call the police. And John and her realize she's not coming with them. It's all the too terrifying, because Josh Hartnett's character, John Tate, what doesn't he get to say right here? I was wrong. But his facial expression sells it. He wants to say it verbally, but he's saying it with his look. He's in fear for his mother's life because he knows his mother was right, and two, the terror is all too real now. And the fact that she wants to confront this sick bastard is really terrifying for him, because the thought of losing her without being able to tell her I was wrong from a physical standpoint, from a verbal standpoint, is offsetting to the character. And I really love how Josh Hartnett sells it with his face. He does a really great job. The issues of H2O are obvious. The town was not very Halloweeny. It's very much a summer film. I mean, you can watch it whenever. Um, the costumes that the kids wore in town were nice. I like that. Um, the beginning of the film is more your Halloween fall vibe. Is what if you're looking for it. I like Dr. Loomis's deduction board. I do wish we got more from the detectives in this movie. The CGI mask. I guess my biggest question would be, and this is the question for anybody who wants to answer, if I know they didn't want to CGI Donald Pleasance, which I understand why, but why CGI a mask? I'm not complaining, I'm merely asking. I find it really interesting that they do it. Would I have done that? No. But I guess if you're gonna do it, I don't think I would have did it that close up either. I mean, right there in his face. I like how they focused on the eyes though, because Michael just looked evil. The eyes looked evil. So I hope you guys have a great day. That's sort of my overall thoughts of H2O, and it's a really enjoyable movie. It's a lot of fun. I love the Janet Leigh, Jamie Lee Curtis uh, connection we got. We got mother and daughter on screen. You guys have a good day. Bye bye.